Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Today, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Napoleon from GMT Games. This is designed by Ted S. Raicer with graphics provided by Domhnall Haggerty. And I do apologize if I've somehow mispronounced either or both of those names. Napoleon is a solitaire game. It's for ages 14 and up. It plays in 1 to 4 hours based on the scenario that you choose. And Napoleon is available now. It carries an MSRP of $70. All right, all that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Napoleon. Do want to mention before we jump on in, my friends over at GMT Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy. But neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's very important. You know that. All right, let's grab this and get the shrink off. If I can actually get a hold of the shrink. Come on. There we go. And let's take a peek at the back. I am not going to read everything off the back here, but let's get an idea of what's going on here. In 1769, Napoleon Bonaparte was born to a minor noble family on the Isle of Corsica. In 1793, he was an artillery officer in the armies of Revolutionary France. In 1796, he was the commander of the French Army of Italy. 3 years later, now Napoleon Bonaparte, he was first consul and ruler of the French Republic. In 1804, he crowned himself Emperor of France, and by 1810, he was effectively the ruler of most of Europe. But only 5 years later, he was deposed prisoner on his way to exile on the small island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic, where he would die in 1821 at the age of 51. Yet the legend of Napoleon lives on. Napoleon is a solitaire game in which you, the player, step into the boots of this remarkable figure as he makes his first appearance on history's stage. Through 222 lavishly illustrated cards, you will attempt to recreate or even better Napoleon's career. Can you win enough success as a commander on the fields of battle to seize political control of France as first consul and then emperor? Can you use diplomacy in war to make yourself master of Europe? Can you father a legitimate heir to found a dynasty? Above all, can you win enough glory to cement your life in myth? And then there's a little bit more. Very excited to take a peek at this. Now, you might be very familiar with Ted Raicer as a wargame designer. To be honest, I think a lot of gamers out there probably would recognize Ted Raicer as the designer of Paths of Glory, the card-driven World War I war game from GMT Games. But Mr. Raicer has designed well over 30 games. So most of them tend to kind of skew towards the traditional hex and counter sorts of war games. I'm not saying that they're just hex and counter war games. But this is a bit of a departure, so I'm really interested to see what we've got cooking inside here. So we've got rules of play. We got a playbook. Looks like we've got some mats. So let's jump on into the rule book. As we've already seen, this is a card-driven role-playing game, essentially. Pretty sweet. It is solitaire. And you will have to manage all the facets of Bonaparte's life: warrior, politician, diplomat, husband, and lover. You may fall to an enemy bullet or be arrested and executed by the revolutionary government, becoming a mere footnote in history. Or you may die on the throne, master of Europe, with a son and heir, exceeding even the accomplishments of history. Every time you play, you will face new challenges and decisions as you explore the multitude of roads the life of a Napoleon may take. Sweet. All right, so it's going to discuss the cards, how the cards are broken down. So we have the title of the card, effect icons, the type of card, the instructional text. We also have when this card, I guess, is added card number and when it's removed. Oh, I'm sorry. What card number will remove it is what it looks like. Because I believe we have 3 different decks that we are going to play through. So based upon different eras, we have some divider cards, counters, player aids. We've got the full campaign scenario. Here is our game mat or game board. I'm not sure if we've got a mounted board or not. We will find out. Being Napoleon, Napoleon has a luck marker, so you're going to track his luck. Glory, our sequence of play, setup phase for the year, card deck phase, card action phase, campaign resolution phase, diplomatic phase, domestic politics phase, and a cleanup phase. So we're going to get into a breakdown of each of those. I'll have to take a peek at the back of the box to see what the complexity rating was for this. I'm going to take a guess. It's probably a 4 or 5 as far as GMT goes on their scale of 1 to 9. So we've got our diplomatic phase. We've got an example of play here. So it's a campaign resolution example. Domestic politics. We've got potential campaigns. Game end and outcomes. Some clarifications on some of the cards. And then our scenarios. And looks like we've got a bit of a glossary. Oh, key terms. Close enough. So there are the rules of play. Then we've got our game book, which is actually a little bit thicker. And I will take a guess that we are going to dive on into a nice example of play that goes into detail, I would hope. That's usually what we see in the playbooks. We do have a quick start guide, so that's nice. It's going to give us a breakdown here. Then we get, there we go. There's our example of play. Starting in 1805. We've got diplomacy tracks showing some of our cards. I always mention when I'm taking a look at various different GMT game titles that if there is a playbook and it's got an example of play, I always read those first before I take a peek at the rule book. I find it just makes things a bit easier. So here we've got descriptions of each of the cards. So probably the historical context. Then we have a chronology of Napoleon's life. Some design notes. And we wrap up with a St. Helena lullaby, as well as our sequence of play. All right, that's interesting. And it looks like, yes, we do have a mounted board. So this is our campaign battle mat. So assigned commanders, used commanders, the current campaign modifiers, and we also have strategy and tactics. And then potential campaign selection table. So we've got that. We've got a little punch board with some tokens on there. So we'll get a little closer look here. Of course, dual-sided. And these are pretty big counters there. Next up, we have the board. And the board looks like this is a pretty good size. So I am not going to be able to fit it all on camera here. Probably not. Because it looks like it's 4 panels by 4 panels. And of course, I'm always very careful when I'm opening these boards up because unfortunately, it's very easy to not be paying attention to how it folds and then accidentally tear the mounted board. So it looks like we play various different cards here. There we go. We'll get most of this side into the shot. Kingdom of Westphalia, Crown Prince of Sweden. We've got Russia, the Americas, Britain, Kingdom of Holland, Prussia, Polish question, France, Austria, Portugal, Spain, Kingdom of Naples. So then we will get into the Bonaparte family, politics, chief of staff, minister of police, Talleyrand, and then we also have current treaties, commanders, campaign modifiers, strategy, and tactics, which we kind of saw the mat there as well. Discussion of diplomacy tracks, domestic politics table, campaign combat resolution table as well. So we've got those. And a very nice mounted board, that is for certain. So we've got 2 large decks of cards. We already know, I take that back. 3 decks of cards. We already know there's 222 cards. And we get a 10-sided die. Of course, baggies for our counters and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shrink off of these cards. I am going to zoom in so we can get a far better look at them as well. All right, so I have sorted these cards out into their decks. So we do have the commander, field commander, and then emperor. I think those are the titles of the different decks. And they are different sizes. Of course, the emperor deck is the largest, and the field commander is actually the smallest. We also have some other cards here for abdication, emperor. I think these are all remaining emperor cards. So these all have the color coding for emperor, but they have different backs. So the standard back of the card is this, whereas we have these cards. So I don't know what the difference is. And then, of course, I think these were the divider cards. I am really intrigued by this. I really, really am. I am going to probably bust this out and check it out once I get back from Gen Con. Should mention, Napoleon just showed up. And as soon as I saw it, I made sure to get all the graphics ready to run down here to do the unboxing. Of course, if you follow the Gaming Gang, you know I am heading off to San Diego Comic-Con. And then right after that, I'll be back for a couple of days. And then I'm on my way to Indianapolis for Gen Con. So if you've been following my live show, you know the show is dark for a little more than 2 weeks. There are going to be videos because I am shooting video like a madman so that you are not going without any content from the Gaming Gang for a couple of weeks. So anyway, I will not have an opportunity to check this game out for at least 2, maybe 3 weeks. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're going to just take a look at some of these cards. Advisor to the Turks. When revealed, may place an Napoleon to immediately +5 G and +1 P. I think it's glory. Not sure what the P is. Then discard all campaign and campaign modifier cards. This has an ongoing effect. So it shows that this will continue through 1794, or it's like another card. So maybe it is if one of these cards come up. That's a possibility because it looks like that's sort of back on that. Napoleon the Spy. Whiff of grape shot. Give him a whiff of Grape shot. Devoe, Spain allies with France. Nelson. Bubonic plague. That is a campaign modifier. Italian republics. So, of course, the Egyptian campaign is part of this deck. Then we get, like I said, I think it's the Field Command deck. Paris Society, Austria, Ney, Marshal Ney. Opposed River Crossing, this is a campaign modifier. Tsar Alexander, emigres pardoned. Lannis to Portugal. Louis the 18th writes. Copenhagen. I love how we've got bits of artwork here as well. And of course, if you're interested in what each of these cards represent, we already saw there's a little bit of a breakdown. Each card looks to get about a paragraph in the playbook. And then, of course, the largest of the decks, we have the Emperor deck. Archduke Charles, Soult. Is he lucky? It's a campaign modifier. Portugal Expedition. So we can see here that we have cards which represent commanders for different nations, expeditions. I, Napoleon section there. So, as an example, there's a Russian commander. Our wife section. Strategy and tactics to be able to utilize during the campaigns. Campaign modifier again. Another potential wife. Kind of cool. I'm really interested in the role-playing aspect of this. Prisoner of St. Helena. There you go. That's wrapping it up there. Got the Waterloo campaign as one of the campaign cards. Very nice. Very cool. Now, show you these. They're pretty much the same breakdown. So potential campaign, potential campaigns, potential treaty, Bonaparte family card. Yet they do have these different backs with essentially a B. It's pretty wild. Very cool. All right. So that is a look inside what you'll find in I, Napoleon from GMT Games. As I mentioned, I am looking forward to actually get this to the table and check this out. But it's going to be a bit because I will be covering San Diego Comic-Con and Gen Con. So there is that. Once again, I, Napoleon is designed by Ted S. Raicer. It is available now from GMT Games. It carries an MSRP of $70. It's a solitaire game for ages 14 and up, and depending on the scenario you select, takes about an hour to 4 hours to play. As I always point out when I share these first look videos and review videos of GMT Games releases, they don't have huge print runs. So if your interest is piqued by I, Napoleon, probably want to grab it now. Don't wait. You never want to pay extra because something is out of print from GMT Games, and then you're stuck looking on the secondary market for it. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this unboxing, it'll also let you know when my live show, The Gaming Gang Dispatch, streams on YouTube most Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.